Hi folks, welcome to the Transportation Equity Workgroup Community Learning Session. This is a recording of the presentation that we've presented to our day session as well as our evening session tonight on February 13th. We wanted to give an opportunity to folks who are not able to join us tonight to get a recording of this. So this is the presentation for interested applicants who are looking to apply for the Transportation Equity Work Group. My name is Annya Pintak, and I'm with the City of Seattle Department of Transportation, and I will introduce my colleague, Naomi Dorner.
Hi, I'm Naomi Dorner, and I am the Transportation Equity Program Manager with the City of Seattle, and we're excited to get underway.
Perfect. Great. So today this presentation will cover the following content. We will go over background and context, a little bit more about who SDOT is, as well as providing an overview on our Transportation Equity Program. We'll then dive straight into what is the Transportation Equity Work Group, and then go over steps on how to apply, and then as well as conclude with just next steps on this presentation. So who are we? So we are the City of Seattle Department of Transportation. Our mission is to deliver a high-quality transportation system for Seattle. We are a large organization, and we are responsible for several things, including the city's streets and sidewalks, as well as moving people and goods throughout the city, as well as in and out of the city. Our goal is to provide safe, efficient, affordable, and equitable transportation options, and our work ranges from filling potholes to creating great public spaces and so much in between, including building out a network of sidewalks and bike lanes for all ages and abilities, as well as other things that fall within our purview. With the exception of the streetcar, we are not in the business of owning or operating transit, but we do work very closely with our agency partners, such as King County Metro, as well as Sound Transit and Washington State DOT, to make sure transit can get operated reliably. And as the city continues to grow, we're managing our transportation so that it works for people today and in the future. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague Naomi Dorner to give a little bit more background and context.
So in terms of how did we get to this place where we have a Transportation Equity Work Group, we wanted to provide a little bit of background so that you understand the full context of how we got here. The City of Seattle has what is called the Race and Social Justice Initiative. It is a citywide framework for becoming an anti-racist institution, and the city has had this initiative since 2004. The mayor at that time, Mayor Nichols, he put this initiative in place within the Office of Civil Rights, and this was out of a response to community indicating that the city should really look at race and social justice as indicators for the work. So with that, the initiative has been around since 2004 at the city. And since then, departments across the city have implemented their own race and social justice initiatives within their department. So it's still connected to the city's overarching framework and the initiative, but they have it within the departments. And so again, the work of each of the departments in terms of the race and social justice is really to fight against institutionalized racism. So there's a lot of training, education that goes on. So that's the citywide social justice initiative. Another thing to note is that each mayor, since the beginning of the Race and Social Justice Initiative, so since it was initially implemented, each mayor has since affirmed or reaffirmed their commitment to race and social justice. And we have our new mayor, Mayor Durkin, when she came into office, she had an executive order that she essentially reaffirmed. It was the very first thing she did, and she reaffirmed her commitment to race and social justice. Within that, she called out a number of different equity matters that she was going to have the city focus on: affordability and transportation equity were two of those, among others, but it's relevant to the work that we're doing with regards to the transportation equity program, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. And then just building on that, City Council has long supported equity initiatives, and in 2018, at the very beginning of 2018, they passed a unanimous resolution, Resolution 31773, which you'll hear more about in a moment. And that resolution, again, reaffirms the city's commitment to race and social justice and the department's commitment to race and social justice, but it also lays out a framework for the department's transportation equity program and work, including the forming of a committee or work group of community that would shape the program and department's work. And then finally, the Department of Transportation, again, we have a race and social justice initiative. We also have a group of staff that works to really look at policies, practices, and programs, and they support racial equity analysis and trainings. We also have an intradepartmental team. The intradepartmental transportation equity team is really looking at how each of the divisions and the department at large are thinking about and framing equity within their work, and they will be supporting the work of the transportation equity program staff as well as this work group as well. And I guess I'll leave it at that, but that is sort of the background and context of our work. In terms of the program itself, so again, the Department of Transportation has long supported equity in a number of different strategies, and one of the strategies that it implemented or established in 2017 was a new transportation equity program. And it was really supported with, it's supported largely with voter-approved dollars through the Seattle Transportation Benefits District. And those dollars, in addition to some other dollars out of another funding source, they really support broadly programming that we do with community-based organizations. It also supports a lot of the advisement work that the Transportation Equity Program staff does across the department and also with other stakeholders and agency partners. And then it supports the work of the engagement that we'll be doing with the selected members of the Transportation Equity Work Group. In terms of our programming, so on the affordability programming side, we have been partnering with King County Metro and a number of community-based partners, including Public Health, Seattle, King County, and then community-based organizations to provide essentially transportation resources. So everything from preloaded Orca-Lift cards, transit vouchers that then support seniors and people with disabilities to enroll in the regional reduced fare permit. And we've worked with a number of community-based organizations that have held events and built-in education and training for their own community and clients in a context that made sense for them through an ambassador program. And then finally, we also have a car tab rebate program, which we partner with the Seattle Department of Human Services on this, so that for anyone that is income qualifying and has paid their car tab fee, if they can apply to receive a $20 car tab rebate. So that happens, again, through the Department of Human Services. And that's what our programming looks like currently.
Great. So diving into our transportation equity work group, this is a completely new body of work for us. And as Naomi mentioned, this creation of this work group is supported by City Council Resolution 31773. The transportation equity work group will consist of 8 to 10 compensated members. Work group members will be meeting monthly for 1 year to engage in facilitated conversation and activities with the goal of developing a set of recommendations for SDOT to consider within a transportation equity agenda. I think a key piece to this is as we're moving towards the development and building our transportation equity agenda is really involving community members and communities who are most impacted by transportation inequities to be involved within this process. The overarching goals of the work group will be to develop leadership capacity and a deeper understanding of transportation and SDOT's work. We hope that this will also build community trust and partnerships through transparency and accountability, as well as an opportunity to learn and share understanding of transportation equity values and priorities. Collectively, all of this, the goal will be to have a shared collective and community values to be included within the transportation equity agenda. And transportation equity workgroup members will be participating in this agenda building process. Here we have a visual depicting this transportation equity agenda building process that we are embarking on. So on the left-hand side is a little image of the transportation equity work group. This is the work group that we'll be convening. At the top, we have Seattle Department of Transportation and our Interdepartmental Equity Work Group, which we are also calling our IDT, which Naomi had briefly mentioned this, but it's a work group of various SDOT staff working across divisions within SDOT. We're all coming together to discuss on how are we measuring equity, how are we looking at these, and then the Transportation Equity Work Group will be diving in more in terms of the community-guided suggestions of transportation equity. But both groups will help inform SDOT's transportation equity agenda, which will be the departmental-wide framework for equitable policy, modal planning, and programs. Naomi, did you have anything else to add on this visual?
I think the other item that isn't depicted here, this is all sort of internal process, but we will also be working closely with stakeholders and partners who are not necessarily within SDOT, but are close partners such as King County Metro. We'll coordinate with Sound Transit, and also some of the nonprofit transportation advocacy organizations.
Great, thanks so much. So diving more into the application process. So who can apply for the Transportation Equity Work Group? We are seeking community members who are affiliated with Seattle King County community-based organizations, coalition, or networks interested in serving on the Transportation Equity Work Group and be nominated by one of these groups to participate. So an example of this is I can't just be Annya Pintak, member of the public, and I'm interested in serving on the work group, but you would be eligible if you're Annya Pintak and I happen to volunteer with a community-based organization in South Park, and the organization is also nominating me as well. You don't have to just be a staff person with a community-based organization, coalition, or agency. You can be a volunteer, you could be a client, a community member, a board member, etc. If you're unsure, feel free to contact me. We are accepting applications from youth. So youth nominated by organizations are eligible to apply between the ages of 14 to 24. And we do ask that the agency provide sufficient mentorship to the youth or young adults so that they could be successful in their work group participation. I do want to clarify that you do not have to be a registered 501c3 to apply. You could be a network of agencies, you could be a community-based organization who is not a set up 501c3 but have a fiscal sponsor. So that is our criteria. And again, if you have any questions, if you're unsure of whether your coalition or your community-based organization would be applicable, feel free to contact me personally. So who are we looking for? Specifically, Resolution 31773 outlines that we are seeking workgroup members who have both personal and or professional expertise from and or serving the following communities. And we're really looking to incorporate the voices of marginalized communities to have a seat at the table and be involved within this, within our transportation equity agenda building process. So the specific populations that we're hoping to recruit for, the work group are folks of color, low-income communities, immigrant refugee populations, Native population, LGBTQI communities, people living with disabilities, and other historically marginalized communities. And I want to highlight that we are looking to have representation, and we do recognize intersectionality, and so that we do hope to have diversity within the work group members, and we recognize that individuals may identify within several communities, and so we do recognize that within the group. What are the desired qualifications? So we are looking for personal and/or professional experience with transportation topics, including knowledge of challenges and successes of transportation access in your community. We are looking for someone who understands the impacts of institutionalized racism and race-based disparities on communities of color, and an interest in working to eliminate these disparities and inequities. Additional desired qualifications are listed in the application guidance documents, but these are just some of the key things that we're looking for. I do want to highlight that you don't have to have city or municipal or government experience participating in a committee before. We are encouraging first-time applicants who have never been involved in municipal processes or committees or work groups to please apply. What are the benefits of participating? So some of the benefits of participating in the work group is to learn more about SDOT's governance structure, programs, and projects. You'll have an opportunity as work group members to learn a little bit more about how SDOT's line of businesses work. This is a leadership development opportunity as well, and also civic engagement opportunity. And as well as a work group member, you will participate and have involvement in SDOT's transportation equity agenda development process. As part of the participation, we are holding a 2-day professional development summit for work group members. This will be held in April, one in April and one in May, but it will be an opportunity for folks to learn more about SDOT. And for folks who are interested in taking more of a leadership development role or building more of those skills, we will have co-chair positions available for those interested in further building those skills. What is the level of commitment? So we are looking for work group members who can commit for 1 year to serve in the work group. I mentioned this a bit, but commitment to attend our mandatory professional development summit. There will be 2, one in April and one in May, and you can anticipate for this to be a full 7 to 8 hour day. We have not set the time, date, or location yet. We will be finalizing that with the selected work group members to make sure it works with everybody's schedule. You can also anticipate to participate in 1 regular meeting per month. Regular meetings will be scheduled for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Location and regular dates for this are also to be determined, and we'll solidify that together with the selected work group members. There will be some times where there's an expectation to review materials between meetings and provide comments via email, one-on-one meetings, and teleconferences as needed. And for that, we're anticipating potentially around 5 to 7 hours a month. But high level wise, this is the level of commitment that we'll be looking for from work group members. Is there support for work group members? There will be support for work group members, and pending the number of work group members selected and full participation, members will receive a stipend of up to $5,000 to participate in the 1 year effort. And I did want to mention that work group members will directly receive the stipends for participating, not the organization or coalition who nominated the member. And so there will be a memorandum of agreement, also what we call an MOA, between SDOT and the work group member. And we anticipate that this agreement would start March 2019 and run to March 2020 for that 1 year term commitment. Partial funding for the stipend will be provided to the work group member in the beginning of the term, and then the latter half upon the finalization of the equity agenda. Additionally, you will have a support team for work group members. So myself and Naomi are your Point City staff for the support team. And we also have hired an external facilitator of the work group, Cherry Kayabia with Kaya Strategic, who is not a city employee, but a facilitator and consultant with an anti-racist social justice framework that we've hired on to help us facilitate the work group. So how do I apply? So you can access application materials online at www.seattle.gov/transportation/equity workgroup. I'll send the applications along via email as well. But there are 2 items to submit. So one is your response to application questions, and this will be filled out by the individual nominated. And then the second form is a nomination form, which will be filled out by the nominating agency or coalition. The response to application questions are 6 questions. We are not asking for a resume, and we will not be holding interviews. These are just the 2 items that you will need to submit to us. You can submit it to us via mail or email, and our application deadline is Friday, February 22nd, 5:30 p.m. I would like to highlight that if language is a barrier and you do need language assistance, please contact me and we'll make our best effort to provide you with an interpreter to help you fill out the application. As well as if a written application is a barrier, please contact me as well and we can do our best to figure out another way to submit your application. Additionally, I do want to mention that I will be holding a help session on February 20th from 9 to 4:30 p.m. by appointment. If folks out there need help submitting an application or need help writing an application, I've held that date again, February 20th, pretty much all day to work one-on-one with you. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. I'll share my contact information at the end and we can set up an appointment.
Is it
the 20th is actually next Wednesday.
Oh,
yes.
You said Friday.
Oh, sorry. I meant Wednesday the 20th. So here is our timeline again. So our applications open on Wednesday, January 16th. And here's our help session again, Wednesday, February 20th from 9 to 4:30 p.m. This is the email that you can contact to set up an appointment. Location is TBD. I'll work one-on-one with individuals who'd be interested in that. Friday, February 22nd, 5:30 p.m. is when applications are due by mail or email. This is the email address to send your application items to. The mailing address is listed in our website, but also in the application guidance document as well. We anticipate that by Friday, March 8th, the selected work group members will be notified. March 2019 will be the anticipated month for the first work group meeting. This will be an orientation for work group members. April to May 2019 will be the Professional Development Summit for work group members, and then July to December 2019 will be the engagement and agenda building period for work group members. I also, just to kind of wrap up our session, we did want to mention that we have a team of application reviewers as part of the selection committee to review applications for the work group. These include City of Seattle staff from SDOT, Department of Neighborhoods, the Mayor's Office, Councilmember Mike O'Brien's office as well, and then the Seattle Youth Commission. And we also have a community member as well sitting on the selection committee. Additionally, our partners such as King County Metro and the King County Mobility Coalition are also part of the selection committee. And again, anticipating that by March 8th, 2019, those who will be applying will get notification on the selected work group members. Here's our contact information. Naomi, who's our Transportation Equity Program Manager, that's her contact information. And I'm Annya Pintak with Transportation Equity Program Coordinator. And here's my email as well. Feel free to email me or call me. The Transportation Equity at Seattle.gov email, I also monitor that. So either email works. And so our emails again is naomi.derner, DOERNER @seattle.gov. Number is 206-795-5213. My email is Annya, ANNYA.Pintak, PINTAK @seattle.gov. Number is 206-684-5142. And with that, I think, do we have any other items to share?
Yeah, if anyone has any language needs, please feel free to let us know, and we will make those accommodations for anyone with language needs.
Yep. And additionally, too, if a written application is a barrier, we can also work with you individually on submitting the application through another format. Feel free to contact us for that as well. With that, we really look forward to receiving some of your applications. If you have any other questions after viewing this presentation, please don't hesitate to contact us. We hope you have a great evening and a great weekend. Take care.